Haha! What is up, everyone? The cameras are not exactly angled perfectly, but there's a reason for that, and I'll explain why in a moment. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Weekend Preview. I am Darkside Phil. Today is Sunday, August 7th, 2016, and let me tell you, just as I predicted, just as I thought was going to happen, this past week in particular, this first week of August, already, in my opinion, from my perspective, more exciting, more interesting, and much better back on track for entertaining stuff than all of July was. As we all know, July was slow. There was nothing going on in gaming. Not the case this time around. This month looks like it's going to be a busy month. This week in particular will be a very heavy week where we're going to have continuing and finishing playthroughs, a new game, other new playthroughs going on, and I'm about to explain all of that. What do you mean that something's different? It doesn't look like normal. I don't know what you're talking about. Obviously, I am in a very Sonic the Hedgehog mood. If you haven't noticed recently, I've been playing Sonic 2006. Now, this was a patron goal from way back in the month of June that we hit the funding goal, and the June patrons voted and said they wanted to see me play Sonic 2006 over a series of other Sonic games like Sonic Adventure or Sonic 1 through 3. So that's why all day Thursday I did a crazy 6 to 7 hour long marathon. Friday I did another 3.5 hours, and today, Sunday, I did another 3.5 hours of Sonic 2006. And as of right now, I'm pretty much in the home stretch of the game, which means that I've got about 15% left with Silver's story. And then I've got about 70% left of Shadow's story. And then once you beat their stories, apparently it unlocks the true final stage of the game, leading to the true final boss, alright? I thought I was going to get further than I did with the game, but a couple things happened. First of all, Saturday, unfortunately, I didn't do any live streaming or gameplay because Leanna was very sick. We barely got any sleep, and we decided to sleep in. I took care of her during the day, and we had to go out and do errands, and we rearranged our schedule to do errands earlier in the day when normally I would have been streaming so that we could get them done. And bottom line is, Saturday kind of threw everything off, alright? I was planning on maybe finishing Sonic by today. I didn't get that done, alright? That's okay, though, because I've got all day Monday, alright? Now, the other thing that happened was today, as I was playing it, unfortunately, I ran into a bunch of problems with the game being buggy and difficult and just a cheap piece of shit. Ridiculous amounts of cheap-ass instant deaths, a whole mechanic with Sonic that wasn't even working in one stage, and it forced me to replay the stage twice from the beginning, which was really frustrating. Although it combined with a lot of luck. There was like a couple bosses that were tough, but I one-shotted them, and there was this one part that I had 0 lives left, but I managed to beat it. And so it was kind of down to the wire. If you have not watched the Sonic 2006 playthrough yet, all I have to say is this. It's classic throwback hilarity to the kind of games that I used to play back in my early YouTube career. The games that were unpolished, buggy, I raged a lot because they sucked, and those playthroughs were funny and good for all the wrong reasons. You know, you play a game that's so bad, it's good. And that's kind of how Sonic 2006 is. It's got a lot of great stuff in it that could have been great if the gameplay had been implemented properly, but the game in a lot of ways is unfinished, just crazy mechanics that don't work properly, and just hilarious fails and stuff in this playthrough because it's such a silly game, because it was rushed by Sega. So now I finally understand why people have been so up in arms about this game, and, you know, it had so much potential and was so wasted on a game that pretty much is unfinished in a lot of ways. Anyway, before I get off track, Monday, for me, is going to be all about Sonic 2006. My goal is to complete the game, which means I'm going to live stream it on my earlier stream starting around noon Pacific time through the entirety of the stream, and if I don't finish the game, I'm playing it again at 7 p.m. Pacific time, which is when I usually would start a late night stream. So 2 sessions of Sonic 2006 tomorrow. I'm really making the full court press to finish the game because this week has a big high profile new release we've all been waiting for in No Man's Sky. That's going to be released on Tuesday. Now, I just want to clear a few rumors up for everyone because people are like, people already played this game. It's all over the internet already. What you're seeing is actually the pre-release version without any patches, without all the things that they implemented to fix the game and adds a significant amount of content. In fact, they said there's the day one patch for No Man's Sky is supposed to be insanely huge. What happened was, as usually happens, people broke Street Date, which they're not supposed to fucking do. It's against the law. And they ran out there with copies that they stole from or the retailer gave it to them to the back room, which you're not supposed to do. And they ran out and played this game early, which you're not supposed to do because that's not representative of the final game. I know firsthand of the faux pas and the pitfalls of playing a game before release date. Remember what happened with Dark Souls 3 when I played a version of the game that was actually artificially nerfed compared to the rest of the game up to a certain point? And so those early levels of Dark Souls 3 weren't necessarily representative of the grueling difficulty that I had with bosses like Champion Gundyr and the final boss and stuff like that. So playing a game pre-release is very risky, and the bottom line is all the people who have gotten these pre-release, they're playing, oh, the game's buggy and it has this, and the publisher or the game developer already came out and said, you're playing the unfinished version. Like, you're playing the game without any of the patches we've implemented over 3 months of time to fix this game and make it better, and it's your own fault for breaking Street Day. So, I don't know, I've stayed away from all the footage. I haven't watched any of it. All I know is this: it's supposed to be about space exploration and, you know, complete open universe. It's supposed to be progressively generated, so it's random and different for everyone who plays the game. And apparently your goal is to get to the center of the universe, but it could take upwards of like 40, 50, 60 hours to do so, which is pretty crazy in my opinion. The question is, will a game like No Man's Sky hold up that long? You know, if it takes you 60 hours to get to kind of your goal in the game, even though it's not necessarily the end of the game, but it's your goal in the game, will it keep you entertained that entire time, or does it get stale and repetitive after a certain amount of time? And I think that's the test that we have to see for this game coming up this week. So, that being said, Tuesday will be all about No Man's Sky. Similar to how I'm doing 2 streams on Monday for Sonic 2006, Tuesday is going to be all about No Man's Sky. I'm going to be playing it 2 streams, an earlier stream and a later stream. So all day long, you'll be seeing coverage of the new game. I'm pretty excited about that, all right? Wednesday, I'll also be streaming No Man's Sky on my gameplay stream around 12 noon. And then Wednesday night, now that by then I'll have gotten around 8 hours of gameplay into the game, I want to do an impressions video on what I think about the game for KO Gaming. Because this is the kind of game that a lot of people are interested in, but how can you legitimately review a game that is supposed to be so long within a couple days? You can't. You can't review it. You can't. It's just not possible to review the game, alright? So, the bottom line is, I want to give a first impressions and at least let you know what do I think about this finalized version with the day 1 patch and everything. What do I think about it after about 8 hours of gameplay? And that'll be going live on KO Gaming. Now, later on in the week, I fully expect that some people will have watched No Man's Sky for a couple days and said, okay, I get it, whatever, I want to watch something else. Other people might still be, oh man, I like it, I want to see people keep playing the game. It depends, there's different kinds of viewers, and I know that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split my efforts so that I'm not only doing No Man's Sky and then people get burnt out and they go away for 2 weeks until I start doing something different. And I have prepared 3 different games for this period of time. Now, if you're not aware, this week and next week, so we're talking all the way until August 23rd, there's really no new releases. Now, that could change, besides No Man's Sky is what I meant to say. Besides No Man's Sky, there's no new releases. That could change. We could have another episodic release with Hitman. We could see another DLC character with Street Fighter or something like that. I'm not fully expecting that, to be honest. I don't think it's going to happen. If anything, those episodic releases maybe near the end of the month like they traditionally are. So the bottom line is, I really, for around 2 weeks, just have No Man's Sky, and that's it. So, obviously, I don't want to just do No Man's Sky and then have people who don't like the game or get bored or burn out on that game not interested in it. But I want to play it at length, so I have a full-fledged view of the game for a full review somewhere down the line, probably at least after a week's time of playing it. So, the 3 games that I have purchased and actually are en route to my house right now. Number 1, Scarface on the Xbox. Apparently, it's the best version of the game. It can be emulated on the Xbox 360, and I have purchased it online for a whopping, it was like $40. It was really expensive, and I hope that it works, and it's intact, and it's in one piece, fingers crossed. Number 2, The Godfather Part 2. Now, this was a playthrough that I started way back when in 2009, and I had to stop playing the game because of virtual nudity complaints, which led to community strikes against my original YouTube channel, Darkside Phil, way back when. What a mess that was. And so now YouTube's changed. Now you can do all this stuff in video games with the virtual nudity and all that. So I want to play this game again. Eventually, at some time, I want to finish it. And then last but not least, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Now, there are 2 newer versions of the game than when I played it back in 2012. There's one version that's on the Xbox 360 that apparently is like the mobile Android version ported to it. And I've heard the graphics are great, but it has tons of bugs and issues, and the soundtrack is missing a bunch of songs. There's also a new version that was recently released on PlayStation 4 that apparently has trophy support, but the graphics aren't very, they're pretty much PS2 graphics. But I guess there are some improvements. I don't know, and everyone seems to be on the fence about what the best version is. I bought the 360 version, but I'm not I'm certainly not shutting out the possibility of just getting it on PS4 anyway and playing it on there if people think that overwhelmingly that's the best version, all right? So those are the 3 games that I'm considering playing as stuff balanced with No Man's Sky, all right? Now, what order I play the games, and first of all, I just want to make it clear, I'm not promising I'm playing all 3. I'm at least playing 1. I don't know which one, but I'm not playing all 3. I doubt I'm going to have time in 3 weeks to play all 3 of those games balanced with No Man's Sky. That's a pretty tall order, you know what I mean? So, what I'm probably going to do is once I receive all the games this week, they're all supposed to be coming, and I think, actually, Grand Theft Auto is supposed to be coming tomorrow, and then I think Scarface and Godfather are supposed to be coming within the first few days of the week. Once I get them all, I want to test them. Because that's the problem when you buy used games. Sometimes they just don't fucking work. So obviously I don't want to say, I'm doing Scarface, yay! And then I go to put the disc in and discrete error. So I got to test them all to let you know whether or not what I can play this week, alright? Once I've tested them, what I'll probably do is put up a poll on social media, probably on Twitter, @TheyCallMeDSP, right over here. And I'll have people overnight kind of vote on what do you want to see me balance with No Man's Sky. Whatever wins the poll will be the first game. And then if I finish that game, I'll move on to another one. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I will literally have 2 weeks to focus on No Man's Sky and whatever else I want to balance with it. Okay? So that's the deal. You're going to see a new game, No Man's Sky, balanced with these cool open world style games that people have wanted to see me play for quite some time. Now, I'm not shutting out the possibility of anything else. For example, there's a possibility that Overwatch may have a new event for the Summer Games. They had a Summer Games event, Lucio Ball, that was added to the Brawl last week, and it's still being played as the weekly Brawl right now. Maybe midweek this week they'll change it to another new one, and I want to check that out and maybe do a quick session of Overwatch or something one night, then I will. So I'm leaving that possibility open, that if anything happens, like Hitman or, you know, Overwatch, if there's an opening, I'll balance whatever I'm doing, like No Man's Sky, with that for that day, okay? Now, here's the thing. Once I complete Sonic 2006, what I would like to do is maybe later in the week do a special video for KO Gaming where I talk about the game. Because this game, after finally playing it hands-on, I've got a lot to say about it. There's things that I actually absolutely love about Sonic 2006, and there's things I absolutely hate about the game. And I want to kind of balance that in a video where I share my opinions and I talk about the storied history of this game and the game development, and they're basically firing the game testers who told them the game wasn't ready and all this kind of stuff. It's a good game to actually do a creative video on, in my opinion. So I'd like to do that, but obviously there's no rush on that. Sonic 2006 is an old game, 10 years old. So later in the week, if I'm playing No Man's Sky in another game and, you know, okay, I have a little bit extra time, maybe like Friday night or something like that, maybe I'll spend some time and I'll try to do a video for it so that I could talk a little bit about it and get it off my chest and stuff like that. All right. Okay, so that's kind of the week. Let me go through that again. Sonic 2006 concludes on Monday, hopefully. Tuesday, No Man's Sky all day long. Wednesday, No Man's Sky on stream balanced with a first impressions video on KO Gaming. Thursday, I balanced No Man's Sky with a new playthrough, one of these 3 games that I mentioned. I'll do a poll to determine which one it is, and it will be those games balanced either alternated days or maybe double stream days. I'll do, you know, split the day between the 2 games for the next foreseeable week, all the way heading into up to August 23rd. Excuse me, I almost said October. August 23rd, when there's multiple new releases coming out, like King of Fighters 15, Deus Ex Mankind Divided, and there's a couple indie games that week too. So depending on how much I spend on those games, we'll see which ones I actually get to tackle. All right. So that's the plan. I think that's a great mid-August lineup. Usually mid-August, there's nothing going on. It's dead as fuck. Honestly, August is such a month usually where only till the last week of August all of a sudden you start getting new releases. This I'm so happy that this year it's different, that we've got a big high-profile release like No Man's Sky, tons of time to explore the game, and I get to balance it with other games that people have wanted to see for a while. 2 thumbs up so far, at least for the plans for August. Hopefully they go according to plan. All right. Now, the one final thing that I want to mention before we end this week in preview is that the Patreon goal for the month of August has been set. I actually said it a few days ago, all right? And I've been talking about it on my pre-streams, but not everyone watches my pre-stream, so I want to talk about it here in this video so you're aware what's at stake, because I directly listened to you, the viewers. For months, I've been getting criticism. Phil, when you do a Patreon goal and we hit it, why do you only do a marathon? Why don't you finish the game? Phil, when, you know, you do these Patreon goals, why are you doing these kind of amalgamous things where you just say it's in the hands of the patrons? Because then people don't know what they're pledging towards. They can pledge $5 and really hope to see you play this one game that never even makes it to the final poll, and that's frustrating. So I've listened to all of the feedback from the patrons and from non-patrons who said they would pledge if I could have a better Patreon goal. And I've worked towards it and come up with this as a direct result of what you have asked for. So I listened, all right? As you can see here, August's goal for my Patreon, if we hit the funding level for this month, which, by the way, we're around $200 away right now. I want to make that clear that my Patreon page is not correct. It says we're $400 away. It's wrong. It's erroneously estimating that we're going to have $200 of false pledges, but I did away with all false pledges. I have to talk to Patreon about fixing that, all right? We're around $200 away. If we have $200 of additional pledges by the end of the month, we're going to hit the goal, all right? We got plenty of time for that. The goal is I will do a full playthrough of one of these 3 following games, either Jak 3 HD from the Jak 3 HD collection years back, Banjo-Kazooie HD from the Retro Replay collection, not Retro Replay, excuse me, the Rare Replay collection on the Xbox One, or Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped on emulated on the PS3. It'll be the PS1 version, all right? Now, what'll happen is if we hit the funding goal for this month, the patrons who pledge $5 or more by the end of August will be voting in a poll that'll last about a week. And whatever game wins the poll, I'm going to be doing a full playthrough of that game starting around mid-September. I'm going to balance it with the other new stuff that's coming out, because this mid-September there is some good stuff. There's games such as Record and the Dead Rising HD collection, which I want to replay probably Dead Rising 1 because I never played it for YouTube. There's a possibility that I'll be playing a game like BioShock again. As a full playthrough, the remake that they're doing of it. But there is a whole week in there in September with nothing going on, and what I would like to do is balance one of these games with whatever else I choose to do in September, alright? So, again, directly responding to your feedback. You wanted a full playthrough, you got it. You wanted a choice of popular games that people have been asking me to play for a while, instead of just an amalgamous game that may or may not be what you pledged for, you've got it. So directly responding to what you asked for, you got it, all right? So, I mean, I'll be honest here. I'll be very honest. Hold on, let me get the camera back here. That was not the camera. That was a misclick. I'll be very honest with everyone. I'm trying to get this back. There we go. July was a slow month. July sucked. It was the slowest month of my business ever. I'm not even kidding. It was slower than January this year, which was my slowest month previously ever. It was the worst month. There was nothing going on. I couldn't really get anyone to come out and watch my stuff simply because there was no new releases, period. If there's no new releases, no one's going to show up. Once new releases start coming, now people will get into it and they want to come back and watch regularly. But the problem is with no new releases, I'm shot. And that always happens early in the year, and midsummer always happens to me. That's when the dips in my business happen. Because of that, we did not hit the funding goal for Patreon for the first time ever in July. And it hurts, because I've hit that goal every single month since I started on Patreon in February 2015. And to see that we were way under by about, actually, I take that back. We were under by about $200. It was actually between $200 to $250, something like that. It means that I wasn't able to motivate people, that goal of the Patron's Choice playthrough that people have been asking me to do wasn't right. So I listened directly to what you said you wanted. Directly. I hope we hit the funding goal. If we don't hit the funding goal this month, I don't know what else I could do, because I've done directly exactly what you've asked for. As a viewer, as patrons, I've done exactly what you wanted, so hopefully we can hit it by the end of this month. Hopefully with No Man's Sky, whenever we do mid-month, and then all the big stuff coming out at the end of the month, it'll motivate people to pledge, and people will be enjoying themselves, and they'll want to see one of those playthroughs come September. All right? So that's the deal. I pointed right over here to my Patreon, right there. Please check it out. Please pledge. Your pledges, not only do you get, these monthly goals that you contribute to, but you also get personal perks. For example, now that I'm about to end the video, special thanks to the July patrons who, even though we didn't hit the funding goal, still gave me a significant amount of additional income, allow me to do this on a monthly or a full-time basis. It is, Patreon money isn't icing on the cake for me. Patreon money is money that pays my bills. So thank you to those who did pledge. And without further ado, here it is, the thank you patron crawl for the month of July. That's it, everyone. I'll take this off because my head is hot as shit. I like wearing it. It's funny. My head gets so sweaty. Thanks for watching the Week in Preview. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you'll be here for No Man's Sky and Sonic and everything this week. Whatever game gets picked, it's going to be an exciting week. It's going to be an exciting month of August. Thanks for your support. Thank you to the following patrons. Peace out. See you later.